Hi folks, back again. I thought I'd just show you a bit of my build process on this one. This is a build that I call Steve Defeating the Ender Dragon, although I'm still not entirely sure whether I like that title, but anyway, it's kind of a work in progress as most of my builds are. I've decided that Steve needs a little more firepower on his exoskeleton suit, so I thought that why not put a Gatling gun or chain gun. It's a little bit of both, I guess. As usual, I've really got nothing planned, so I kind of just build and hope for the best. Not really a great technique, but and you do find that I find that I tend to be doing a lot of demolishing as well as building because it's not a great way to do it, but it kind of works for me. Originally, this build was a bit different. It was actually Steve stepping on the head of a creeper because at the time I'd been doing a lot of playing in survival, and in my base obviously it wasn't lit quite enough, and so I had a lot of creepers spawning in and I died many times and I was really just sick of it. So I thought I'd build Steve in an exosuit standing on the head of a creeper. So I did all that, and it took probably about 30 hours, I suppose, to build that. And then I showed it to my 8-year-old son, and he was quite disgusted that Steve would actually be trying to kill a creeper. So I had to change it. When I asked what or who should be in place of the creeper, he sort of thought for a little while and then said, "What about the Ender Dragon?" And I figured, yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. So that's what I went with. I've always enjoyed doing builds with kind of a mechanical element to them, and I tend to always find myself going for hydraulics. And I don't know why, but there's just something really interesting about all those hoses and rams and all that sort of stuff. It kind of makes for a really interesting build. I had originally done this build as mostly grey, and then I realised that I have a tendency to use grey a lot, possibly overuse it even, surprise, surprise. So I thought I'd better change it a little bit. And I kind of like the idea of when you see like large machinery, especially Caterpillar and that sort of thing, they're always this bright yellow colour. So I thought that that would kind of suit well in this build. But you do have to keep a bit of grey in there. And here I'm just putting in one of the hydraulic hoses. I really like the look of them for some reason. I think it just gives an extra element to the build. I got the inspiration for this exo suit from a show that was on, gosh, probably back in 2000 or early 2000s, maybe. It could have been even earlier than that. And it was called Reboot. It wasn't terribly big in Australia, but on pay TV, they used to show it. And my kids loved it as well. So when I decided that I was going to do this build, I just Googled the image of the exo suit and just worked very roughly off it. Obviously it's quite different, but I do that a lot. I find that photos are really helpful to work from, And I don't like to look at other people's builds in Minecraft, just because I sort of try not to be influenced by other people if I can help it. So I tend to go by photos of real things. So obviously, if I'm building a scorpion or a spider or whatever, then I'll just go for those sort of photos and work from them. And it works quite well. It can be quite difficult, but it's an effective way to do it. At this point, I really wasn't sure what sort of gun I was going to put on the suit. I spent probably a good hour and a half building one, and just ended up scrapping it because it didn't look how I wanted it to look. It was kind of a single gun in the centre, and it didn't look right. So I ended up using the gun that I built on an earlier build, on the Ladybird. It has two barrels, and it actually just sits better, I think, on this build. And sometimes, you, as I was saying earlier, you really do a lot of deconstruction almost, and it can get frustrating, but I guess that's just part of the process. And I'm changing the colours again. Always seem to be doing that. And it's finished. Now, I didn't want the Ender Dragon to look dead. I just wanted her to look really, really peeved about the whole situation. Because after all, Steve, well, he had a little bit of help. And he is a bit OP, as my son would say. But anyway, yes, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Well, that's pretty much it for the video, so I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to talking to you again sometime soon. Goodbye.